Hello, welcome to episode 135 of the Datapack tutorial series for version 1.2 1.4. But we're doing Datapack Resource Pack. It's our first combined one. And we're going to make an extra custom trim material, not an extra pattern. We're only going to add extra colours that we can use it with the existing patterns. And we're not completely finished yet. We're keeping it simple and starting slow. So let's have a look. Boing. Don't want that. Okay, there we go. That will give us amethyst material. Nice. But I've also added now white dye. So now we've got a white dye material. But what's different? It still says white dye on there. There we go. We've got a white dye one. But if we do this one with amethyst, it changes in the inventory. Now I haven't got that far yet. But if we wear it, if I take that one off and put that one on, you will see it does render the model. So we've got the model when we wear it working. We just haven't done the actual item in inventory. We'll move on to that later. And maybe let's have a look at the tutorial I was using. I was using this tutorial and it does show you how to do patterns. So we'll probably come back and do a pattern at some point. Then it's got how to do the materials. And then I stopped about there. This looks like it's the bit that shows you how to update the blocks so it works in the inventory. So we'll do that. And then down here, it's got this cool sort of adding trims to items. So I think we'll probably move on to that at some point as well. Anyway, let's get back. Enough waffling. If you haven't already skipped ahead in the timestamps, well done. Let's get on and build it now. Okay, I think the first thing we're going to do is make it so we can put white dye into the smithing table. So let's pop over to the to the Datapack, and we can see I've got Datapack folder, data, my namespace, extra trim, trim material, white.json, and then in the Minecraft namespace, tags, item, trim materials. So we're going to add a material, we're going to call it white.json, and then we're going to add it to the list of available trim materials. So let's go to the tutorial. And I'm going to copy this bit here, data example trim material end.json. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to take that to the Datapack and copy it in. Our asset name I'm going to call white because we're going to be using white dye. The color code for white I know is hashtag 123123 I'm not going to use a translation. I'm just going to use standard text. And I'm going to call it white dye material. The ingredient will be white dye. And I'm going to save that. And I'm going to add that to the list of valid trims. Now, if we get this file wrong, nothing will work. So in fact, let's get this file wrong one time. So let's do values. And I'll have a list of values. And I want to add Minecraft white dye, but I made a typo and I did that instead. In fact, let's take those out just in case that causes a problem as well. So I've made a mistake. That's not a real item. And in fact, I've even called it Minecrafts. So let's save that. Let's go back. Let's do a reload. Now you can't do a reload because it's experimental. We will have to leave the world and log back in. I know what I'm doing. I'm not sure if that's true, to be honest. Okay, now I can't even get the trim template to go in because I've broken it completely. Let's go back to our Datapack and let's check the spelling here. Okay, Minecraft white dye. That's better. Let's go back. Let's do our log out, log in. And okay, we can shift it in there now. Cool. And if we look at it, we can see Shaper Armor Trim, white dye material. So it says my text, white dye material, and it says it in the color, hashtag FFFFFF. But the texture is awful. Let's get one. Let's put it on. Well, I say awful. Maybe I look beautiful. Oh, look at my big chunky shoulders. Looks like I've escaped from Roblox. Okay, let's do the resource pack side. Let's shrink this down. And let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that for now. Okay, here we are. Resource pack folder. So that's the folder for options, resource pack, open resource pack. And I'm going to add what I've got. Done. It's not made any difference. I didn't expect it to, because let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got the pack.png, which is the 128 by 128 ping file, which is just my face. So if we look in here, there we go, my face. And we've got the pack MC matter, which is valid. Pack format 46. Remember, it's a resource pack format, not data pack format. So it's picked all that up and said, well, okay, this is a valid data pack. Let's close that and shrink that down. Now we have assets. We need that to be called assets. Now we have the Minecraft namespace and extra trim resource. Extra trim resource is my namespace. I can call that whatever I like, but every other folder has to be exactly as stated, I think. Or better safe than sorry. They certainly do in the Minecraft. Right, let's have a look at extra trim resource first. I've got textures, and inside textures, we've got trims, and inside trims, we've got color palettes, and inside color palettes, we've got nothing. Okay, tutorial says, let's have a look. Tutorial says, there we go. They've got a nice sort of 8 by 1 pixel, gradually getting darker, sort of turquoisey aquamarine color because they're using an ender pearl. Right, so we need a file like that. Now I've got one. I'm going to drop it in. I've just called it white. Let's have a closer look at it. It is literally just 8 by 1 pixels and they're all white. I haven't done any shading or anything. I want it to be blatantly obvious that I've got this trim on just for testing. Okay, let's shrink that down. That's our color palette done. And then let's go to assets, into Minecraft, into atlases, into armourtrims.json. Okay. Now let's copy what they've got on the tutorial page. Let's find assets, Minecraft, atlases, armourtrims.json. Okay, let's copy this one. Boink. Let's copy that. And we'll paste that. Well, we don't want that. That's a data pack. I'm so used to using those. Let's paste that into our armor trims. And down here is where we've got the example one. Let's change this. So we want white instead, because that was my asset name. And the name of the palette was white. But it won't be example, because our namespace is extra trim resource. Let's save that. Let's go back. Let's do a done. And a back to game. And an F3T and see what happens. Okay, now this had me stumped for a while. Because I'm sure I've done it right. Extra trim resource. It looks okay. And if we look at the errors, I'm getting sort of lots of light warnings that it can't find all these models. So how did I fix this? I fixed this by going and opening the jar file. So the 1.2.1.4 jar file, I opened that. And then I followed the same path. So I went into assets, I went into Minecraft, I went into atlases, and I opened up armor trims. And I had a look at this one. And I noticed it's a bit different at the end here. So I'm going to copy that one instead. Copy that one. And I'm going to paste that over my version. Let's empty it first. It seems empty. Let's paste that over the top. Okay. And at the end here where we've got permutations, I'm going to copy, make sure we get a comma, and then I'm going to change this one. And we're going to call it white. White. And we're looking at extra trim resource trims. Let's save that one. Let's get our output log here as well, and let's do an F3T to reload the resource pack. And it worked. Okay, let's clear all logs and do an F3T again, just to see if we've got rid of those yellow areas as well. And it worked. Yeah, so I'm happier now because we don't have those yellow areas either. So it must be a good sign. But there we go. We have. Let's make this a bit bigger. We have our netherite with our white trim. You can see it's got no shading. It is all flat color, but it looks all right. That's because we didn't add those gradients into our palette. We just had all white. But let's check. And we've done a chest plate. Let's do netherite. Let's get ourselves, oh, that is a chest plate. Let's get ourselves a helmet, some boots, and netherite leggings as well. Well, the joy of wearing headphones. I think I'm now deaf. I wish I'd already had that. Okay. Helmet. Let's put it all on. Cool, we got white trim. So we could do that for every single die, and you could use all your dies as trims. Now, we're going to leave it there for now because I am well out of time. I'm a little bit late, actually, to be honest. But what you notice is if I get myself a piece of amethyst, I think I did this in the tutorial, in the intro as well, but just to show you again, if we do one of these with amethyst, we can see that the inventory model changes for amethyst, but it doesn't change for mine. We haven't done that yet. We need to add some more stuff. But I found this a little bit overwhelming at first, and I don't want to go crazy and give you too much. So I thought we'll start here. We'll get this working. We can worry about the inventory later. And then in other tutorials, we will move on, because at the top here it shows us how to add a trim pattern, so we can make our own actual pattern. So that should be pretty cool. And down at the bottom here, it shows us how to, where is it? How to add trims to items. So we've got to be trying that at some point as well. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. We've got something working. We can now have sort of any color trim we like. Right, that's it for today. I'm going to rush off, get some work done. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.